right, welcome in, folks, to the Can't We Kick It podcast. I'm your co-host Mike, along with Chuck. Yeah,
What up, bro?
how's it going, Chuck?
Good, man. Just living life.
Yeah, emotionally devastated with the end of Succession.
I went outside and sat on a bench. I watched it at the condo on Sunday. Went outside and sat on the bench by the water.
Just had to watch the water.
Contemplated jumping in, but ultimately I ended up like Roman. Just glad I'm not the fuck out and enjoyed it while it lasted. Now I'm just gonna kick back with my money.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I thought the same thing. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah, man. So I think today we're going to talk about the finale of Succession, right? And
Yeah, straight Succession, man.
straight into it, right?
Yeah,
It was the finale, right? Episode 10, series finale, titled With Open Eyes. And it was crazy.
Do you think we had 3 series finales this week?
Succession,
we had 2 for
Barry,
sure.
Ted Lasso.
Yeah.
And then White House Plumbers, if you include that.
I didn't watch. I'm like 2 episodes, but I watched the first 3. I haven't watched the last 2.
You're in for a treat.
I'll catch up with that. But yeah, so we're gonna just talk Succession today, and then we're gonna do another release very, very, very soon with Barry and Ted Lasso, and catch everybody up on that. But today it's all Succession. One of the flagship, like, Emmy-winning model series on HBO.
Oh yeah, easily. Outside of like Game of Thrones, this is probably HBO's like one of their biggest shows in a long time.
So think about the pantheon of HBO shows, right?
Ooh.
So we have Sopranos, The Wire, Game of Thrones. Am I missing? I mean, those are like I would have Succession in there, that probably as spectacles and flagship shows, like as the 4th one of those, but
yeah,
it's definitely a top 5 HBO show for sure, of all time. It was just kind of it's been running Sunday nights, right? So
yep, yeah, it takes over that Sunday night spot. That is just set aside for the top shows.
Yeah, what do you think's gonna be in there this week? Is it gonna be Chip and Joanna Gaines, like house repair?
Oh, it's gonna be 30 Day Fiance, Married Abroad.
I haven't even looked to see what's in the slot this week for.
I can't think of anything that's there.
Well, I've saw some previews for something like Idol, or there's looks like some
The Idol. Yep.
that I'm not interested in, but so I don't know.
Yeah, we're forgetting a bunch of shows from HBO.
Yeah.
Veep, Curb Your Enthusiasm, which has been going on for like 13 years. Yeah. Sex and the City, also big TV series, but Hall of Famers for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I still think like Succession would be it. I mean, I would think.
Oh, it's a top 5.
Yeah, because even like, I mean, Veep to me, I mean, the comment like Veep and Curb are not like the hour-long dramedy, tragedy shows, but they're good shows on HBO. I was just trying to think of like the cream of the crop.
Yeah, for sure.
Big hitters. So
in terms of HBO, like the next thing that I know of is going to be The Idol, right? Which is their next thing that they're pushing. But then like Righteous Gemstones doesn't start until the 18th.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second season of it, Just Like That, which is the follow-on from Sex and the City, doesn't start until June 22nd. That's all that I know that's coming to HBO other than The Idol.
So The Idol,
and the Idol has gotten panned.
Pop-Tarts and Rat Tails. That's going to be the Sunday night HBO 8 p.m. Central Time slot.
Hmm.
And it looks like on Sunday it's going to have 3 in a row, 8 to 9, 9 to 10, and 10 to 11. I'm not sure if those are 3 new episodes. I'm just looking at their schedule on the same
Yeah.
channel, and it has 8 to 11, 3 episodes of The Idol. So
Yeah, and I've already heard it's gotten panned by like critics. Like it's not great.
yeah.
So
Well, I mean, just think you had Succession and Barry, and then before that, you had the House of the Dragon in that slot, and White Lotus. So I mean,
yeah,
the beginning of this year was balling out
yeah,
for that 8 to 10 HBO Sunday night.
yeah. Q1
So
HBO through the roof. Yeah, Q1
well,
Q2.
Q2, yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, and that's the thing. Even right now, after we finish all these shows, right? So you mentioned before, White House Plumbers is done, um, Lasso's done, Barry's done, Succession's done. For me, 100 Foot Wave, which was also on Sunday night
yep.
before Succession,
Jeez,
and I watched that religiously. I have nothing in Silo. I haven't. I'm like 2 episodes behind. So, well, 1 episode behind, and then come tomorrow, I'll be 2 episodes behind.
right.
But I'm trying to think of what. I think Silo will be the only thing that I'm watching right now.
That's about the
So,
only thing going.
in,
Yeah,
until probably Righteous Gemstones, and I guess in the summer it usually cools down. So,
yeah, I guess. Yeah,
um, because people are out and about and not necessarily watching TV as much on vacation. So,
you'll have. Yeah, I mean, we'll have Black Mirror coming back June 15th. That finally just
oh,
got
June
announced.
15th.
Yeah,
I
and
love
then
that.
the Bears coming back June 22nd, and then Jack Ryan at the end of the month. So there's some stuff out there, but it's not our regular Sunday night ritual.
Yeah, I mean, Black Mirror will Black Mirror and Righteous Gemstones. It looks like it's gonna be even crazier than the last 2
It's gonna
seasons.
be nuts.
So, but yeah, so some stuff coming in June. Not as much, not as good content, but we'll see what happens.
Yep.
Well, let's talk Succession finale.
Yeah. You want to give us a high level recap?
Yeah, so I'm gonna give just kind of a basic recap here. This was all about the iterations of securing votes for the Gojo, yes or no. Do we sell or do we let one of the Roys run Waystar? So it's pretty much Kendall versus Shiv / Matson for votes because Rome took his beat down last week and fled to Barbados to be with his mom and Peter Munyon the Onion. Um, so we get right off the bat that Matson looks to be souring on Shiv. Not Shiv is one of those. She seems to be overdoing it, and Matson's like, but
Yeah. He's
um,
like, I've got my own ideas. It seems like every time I talk to her,
yeah,
she's got her own ideas.
yeah.
Yeah.
He wants a puppet, not a partner, right?
Exactly.
So, um, but yeah, so basically Kendall and Shiv go to comfort Romy Rome, or basically trying to secure his vote for the board since they're on opposite ends. But by the time of the visit at their mother's house, they've been pitched to by Peter Munyon's friend from Monaco on some kind of business deal.
Yeah.
Uh, Greg has called Kendall to tell him that Matson's not going um, with Shiv as the US CEO, and Shiv verifying that, and then Shiv and Roman contemplating murdering Kendall while they're out
Yeah.
by the beach, but it would be too messy and hard to cover up. So
Well, don't
they,
tell him. Yeah.
yeah, they anoint they anoint him the king, and they're making him a concoction meal fit for the king, um, but they basically agree on their strategy Kendall's going to be in charge
Yep.
for the family. Go to the board meeting. Or first go to the dad's house. Connor is playing like, here's what I haven't picked through. Put stickers on if you want it. We'll have some kind of voting. What kind of some sticker system?
Yeah, it's a county fair like wish
Yeah,
list. Like, put your
yeah,
sticker on whatever you want, and you'll get it. Yeah.
yeah. And then the kids get a glimpse of what their dad was like to everybody else, but the kids. So intimate moments with family, with friends,
Yeah.
um, and the fourth kid that's not one of the three. So very very fitting moment in the finale. Um, they go to the board meeting. They're still all kind of you know talking to people for votes in the office. Um, basically, before they go in, to Tom tells Shiv, "It's me,
Yeah.
it's me."
You should
Um,
know. It's me.
yeah, yeah, and but before that, Tom Shiv tells Tom that she's out, and he says, "Who'd you hear from?" He's Greg. So Greg, Tom confronts Greg. Now he has him over a barrel, because what's going to happen? But um, basically, then they go to the meeting. Everybody votes, reflective of what happens in the boardroom in season one. But this time, Rome, instead of Rome having to make the final call to go against Kendall, Shiv freezes up. They leave the room. They talk about Kendall's murder.
God, yeah. Oh my
They
God.
fight. Shiv leaves the room. Votes yes to sell. Ken's still trying to make a deal happen when it's over, and they agree to sell the company to Mattson. Nice photo op. Then the kids all leave. Rome's at a bar enjoying himself and having a drink. Shiv is now the wife of the CEO, with an most awkward handheld in the history of a car ride.
Yeah.
And Ken is wandering the desert like an Egyptian that was banished out of the promised land, or the Israelites, or whatever the Bible
Yeah.
story is. Just looks like he's going to be wandering around Manhattan for 40 years with the ghost of his father and
It is
Colin following
Colin.
around. So
Yeah.
yeah, so much involved in this episode, so many great moments. 90 minutes long.
Whew. Yeah. Burner.
It didn't feel like it. I thought it was gonna feel like it, but I think I was just so enthralled with what was going on. It just felt like it was moving along at the right pace.
Yep.
And I think, you know, you and I talked about this offline, but it's a tragedy
Yeah.
in regards to like Shakespeare and, different plays and stuff
Literature.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a tragedy. And watching 3 finales this week, and we'll talk about the other 2 later, all 3 are different, like in different kind of genres of storytelling.
Yeah.
And this was a tragedy. So you were never, we pretty much knew, like, we both kind of missed the boat. I think Tom was going to be in charge. We were like, okay, if you're just going to have some waspy white guy,
Yeah. It's gonna be Greg.
maybe
Yeah.
Greg, because he was
Yeah.
getting on the good side of Mattson. But in the end of the day, I think we should have all saw that was Tom. If you go back to the first episode, he's the one that tags the kid out at home plate to prevent, them having to pay $1 million to the
Yeah.
kid or whatever for hitting a home run.
Yeah.
And he just does whatever. He's savvy. Shiv calls him an empty suit,
Yeah.
but he's savvy enough to put his empty suit in the line of fire. Mattson tells him he needs somebody. He needs a pain sponge.
A pain sponge. Yeah.
Yeah, as he cuts shit close to the bone. Why he's in there doing this.
Yeah.
So just but I think the tragedy is you knew the kids were not set up for success, right?
No.
And you saw that in, I think the whole telling moment of the series and the finale is the video the kids saw of the intimate dinner with Frank, Jerry, Carl, Connor. I think it was Caroline in there. I can't remember if she was in there. And Carrie,
Gary.
you know,
Yeah.
and just like Carl singing and Carrie's arm is on him and he's enjoying it and they're all having fun and it's
Yeah, he's like
just,
busting his balls. He's like, "Oh,
yeah,
you're terrible singing." Yeah.
yeah. And then, but after like a few minutes, he's just like,
Yeah, got
you
it.
know,
Yeah, he enjoys
and
it.
sing,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's the telling part. He didn't set us, through whatever reasoning. And the mother was the mother just dumped him with the kids, or Logan kicked
Yeah.
the mother out, or Connor is the most well-adjusted one out of all of them, you know.
He is the
So,
eldest. Yeah.
well, no, well, Kendall also says in this when they're fighting in the room, "I'm the eldest boy, and I'm the eldest boy," and and
I'm
she's
your
like,
older
"No,
brother,
you're
Mikey,
not."
and I was stepped over. Fucking Fredo.
Yeah, no, it's very much it's a freaking Godfather. I mean, this was akin to Godfather 2, right? I mean, this
Yeah.
is very but it's a tragedy at the end of the day, and I think that's why, there was no like crazy thing. There was no like shocking moment like this
Yeah.
because other shows, right? And we talked about this too, is when Kendall leaves the building and you almost expect him to hit up, that he's going to go up to the top of the building where he's been many times and stood and looked over, like he's
Yeah.
going to just, and they're going to pan back. See, if this was a different show, like even like Barry or something, Kendall, like they would have been doing the signing of the
I
deal
know.
and you just see Kendall's body flying behind the window. Yeah.
I kid you not.
But
I made the same joke to Jackie. I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah,
he's like, Madsen's doing the Last Supper Jesus
yeah,
pose, and you just
yeah,
see Kendall
yeah.
falling in the background.
And then and Will Ferrell, who's the executive producer, he just
Yeah.
comes, he's in the boardroom as like a media member, go, "Oh, look, he's flying," from
Yeah.
the other guys.
The other guys. Yeah.
"Oh, look, he's flying."
So good.
But yeah, I mean, other shows could have done something like that, but then he goes down and he's just wandering around, right? So
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, the their lives go on, but this is where we finish their story, like as viewers.
Yeah.
But they've still got to live their life, right?
Yeah.
So now they have to figure out what they're going to do. So, and we'll talk more about where we think, if
It's a
the show
rough
was to go
road.
on, where they would. I think you would just. I think that's why they end the show too, because
Yeah.
all it would be is the kids trying to get back in
Yeah.
to something in the Waystar Royco
For
or
sure.
Gojo, or so you can't go on forever. But
Yeah.
I mean, Kendall says this episode, this is the only thing that he could do.
Yeah. It's the only thing he
So
knows. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I think I was trying to look through my notes to see what exactly he said, but um he's basically was saying that it's the one thing I know how to do. But I would argue that's probably not even the case. The one thing he knows how to do is talk in front of people to convince them of things, but not make deals, not. I don't think he would be successful in running the company. It would all be smoke and mirrors. But
I think the one thing Kid knows how to do is screw his father over. And now that
yeah,
Logan's dead, he's got nothing else. Yeah.
and not pay attention to his kids.
Oh my God. Yeah. Who are still up at like upstate. Like they never came back down.
Yeah. I mean, well, according to Rome, only one of the kids is a buy-in, and the other kid is half Rome, half filing cabinet.
That is amazing. Oh
The,
my God.
the I'm gonna miss most about the show, the like one-liners and the
Yeah.
digs. I mean, there's so many that I wrote down in this episode. It's just like just even, I mean, we talked about the Madsen one. He also says, "Why don't I get the guy that put the baby inside of her instead of the baby lady?"
Yeah.
You
Oh
know,
my
and just
god, yeah.
and then Ken tells Stewie, "You kiss guys on Molly, you're grilled cheese with a sucked dick." Like, just the
That
craziness of the
was so
lines.
good. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
Madsen is doing he's they're signing the autographs and he does the Jesus pose and he's like, "Oh, there's Judas
yeah,
right there." And he points to Greg and Greg
yeah,
is like,
yeah. It's my disciple, Jesus and his disciples. Oh, look, even Judas is here, and they're all laughing.
"It was so good." Yeah.
So, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was saying I think, we like one of the aspects we like about the show, right? Is when the three siblings come together and they have like these
Yeah,
moments. And
yeah.
we saw that in Barbados where uh they make the meal fit for a king, which is
Yeah.
absolutely disgusting. And then like they use Peter's like special cheese and Roman's just like licking it
Ah,
and Kendall's like, "Oh no, no." Like it's so funny. Disgusting the fact that he
it
actually drank that. Of course he did because it's Jeremy Strong and
well,
like retched after every take.
that's yeah, it's crazy that he would well, that's the thing, most other actors would just like, "Okay, I'll drink this that looks like it." But did you ever do that growing up with, like, your friends when you
Oh
had,
yeah.
like, people spend the night and all that? Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
that was
we're gonna
like
put a
I
bunch of
didn't
shit in a blender and you're gonna
yeah,
drink it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was funny.
Yeah. Then they put it on his head and it's his crown. And then like they have that moment on the water. Like they're all actually happy. And
Yeah,
we see Ken has a smile, like a genuine smile for like the first time in a long time. Of course, short lived. And it really pisses me off about Shiv. I get her point later when she betrays him, but it's this really nice moment, right? That we enjoy in the show. Like once a season, we see the kids come together and they
yeah,
have a moment like they're actually kids hanging out at their dad's estate. Like it's a really
yeah.
rare moment
Yeah, I mean, before Shiv's wedding, they're, like,
at the boathouse.
hanging out
Yep.
by the boathouse. Last season, Italy, like, comforting Ken and coming together to go against their dad. But in the end, one of them always turns on one or the other, or in the case when the dad was alive, one of them would always turn on dad.
Yeah.
But I think that's what makes it kind of real is that they're so toxic in the toxic environment they grow up in. They can have these moments, but they'll never there's too much ego because that's what they were taught. That's the environment they grew up in.
Yeah.
And I think in the end, I think they're almost all defeated and they have the realization of this. I mean, Rome says like we're fucking
What do you say? Yeah, we're nothing or
he
we're a joke.
says uh we're bullshit. We are
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
And it's something that we as viewers have known the whole season or the
Yeah.
whole the
The whole
whole
show.
4 years.
Yeah.
And I think that's you know sometimes shows when they tell you things instead of show you things get like kind of a bad rap, but I think when they say it here, like we know they're nothing, but Rome realizes this is who we are, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I think
It's
the
their
end,
epiphany. Yeah.
yeah. Well, I think it's Rome's epiphany. I think at the end of the show, when you see the three different kids and what they're doing, Rome to me is almost like relieved. Like,
Yeah.
okay, I've got this money now. I'm just going to enjoy life. I can do my own thing if I want. But I'm going to be so rich off of this, I can just live like whatever Playboy type of lifestyle.
Yeah. Like the little slime
Um,
puppy he is. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And Shiv played her only hand that she had left to play because she knows,
To retain some sort of power, it was the
yeah,
only card she had left. Yeah.
yeah. And I think if she would have went with Ken, she knows she would have kept getting screwed. And I think with Tom and them having a child together, and they've already had like the open marriage and that kind of stuff. She can stay inside and be where she wants to be. And the bad thing for her is that she always wants to be, she has always wanted to be inside the company
Yeah.
and was angling for this Matson, when if she stayed in the political realm, like, she would be in much, much better position, much more suited for her based
She'd
on
be
what we
with
see in the
Nate,
show.
like running Jimenez's campaign, like going
Yeah.
for the presidency. Like, yeah, she would have a totally different life. Um,
And, and Ken, we've seen when he tried to go out on his own, like with the deals he was trying to work, his realization is he knows he's done. Like,
yeah,
his career is done. So he has nothing. He has no kids, no dad, no job.
yep.
At least his dad had tender moments with people, not his family, but others. Ken doesn't have that. He's alienated everybody. So
Yeah.
I think, yeah, it was like watching a beautiful, old literature tragedy, an old Shakespearean tragedy, or an old, you know, told in a new style of storytelling.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just watching one piece of the foundation come out from under as soon as Shiv was like, and then you see she like goes to the conference room and just wants space. And of course, Ken is like, I'm gonna talk her, like, I'm gonna talk to her.
Yeah.
And then she's like, you killed a guy. And
Yeah.
Ken was like, I made that up. It's not real. And they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, he's
Yeah.
just desperate at this point. He's just trying to, she knows he's not fit for the job at that point.
Yeah.
Um, and then Roman says like the like mic drop moment of this like series that Kendall may not even be Logan's.
Oh yeah.
And he like starts like squishing Rove's face against the glass. It's nuts. I mean, I love how there's a board meeting going on and the three siblings are just in the other room fighting.
Yeah, and it's not soundproof, and you can hear it.
No.
And
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
and that, I mean, I think at that point, the people that voted for them are like, what the hell did I just do?
Yeah.
Right?
Did I
Like,
really throw my weight behind these guys? Yeah.
yeah, but in the end, those board members that did, like Stewie and others, are still going to be involved
Oh yeah.
because they're the money.
Yeah.
So
They're still gonna have their board seat. Like
yeah,
they're gonna get paid. Um Stewie's never going with Ken again on anything.
he kept coming back to him though. I mean, he kept. I don't know why. I mean, I guess they're friends and coke buddies, but like,
I think the only one who knows better is Sandy in the wheelchair, and he can't say anything. So,
well, Sandy and Sandy both voted yes for the sale. So,
oh, that's
you
true.
know,
They did. Yeah.
which was interesting to see them and Stewie on different
Yeah.
sides
Split
of the aisle.
sides. Yeah. It was interesting. Yeah.
But
Um, yeah. What I understand, and I'm gonna have this moment. I understand where Shiv was coming from, where she like had to go with Tom and Madsen and like chicken shit it out at the last second. It just pissed me off that after like this whole weekend in Barbados, like we're having this great time, we made you eat this shit shake, and then at the last minute, I'm gonna pull it out from under you. That pissed me off so bad.
well, I think if she was anointed, they one of the other boys would have done the same thing. I
Oh, that's
think
a great point. Yeah.
I think they would all do it because in the end, I mean, you saw the change of one of the kids was on top in each of the last three episodes for the final.
They all thought they
So
deserved it. Yeah.
yeah, when they all had points in their life where Logan told them that they
Yeah.
were the one.
Yeah.
Of course, Jeremy Strong's Kendall's was when he was 7.
His is a little dated. Yeah.
Shiv and Romans were the most recent.
Yeah.
But
I like the moment when he told like Shiv like he wants her in and she's like, "Is this real?" And he's like, "Yeah, remember this. Remember the slant of light. Like
yeah,
this is real."
yeah,
And then of course he's like, "Kidding." Like amazing, dude. Like
yeah.
guy was ruthless.
Yeah. So let's talk about Tom for a minute.
Ooh, Tom.
So we don't know. We've seen his rise from where he was to Cruises to ATN to now American CEO of Gojo, which includes ATN, which now includes
Yeah.
the Waystar stuff, right?
Yeah.
So is this like an example of what we see in the real world where empty suits continue to fail upward, but with a little bit of Nepo baby sprinkled in because he's married to
Yeah.
the
The
dead
chef.
CEO's owners, daughter.
Yeah. The only guy pulling for you is dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
how Carl at the end was like, they Frank and Carl like, what do you think? Like golden parachute? And uh Carl says, or one last rodeo. Like,
Yeah.
and then he's like all positive on Tom, and you're like, and then Tom's like, Frank and Carl are dead. I don't need those old fucks hanging around, like around my neck.
Yeah.
And but it's like, but now Tom also is very clever. And he's worked his way up. And I think that's kind of like the whole American management
Yeah.
style
Yeah.
of not the best worker, the hardest worker,
Not
or
entirely
the
qualified. Yeah.
yeah, gets these things. It's like who can maneuver their way the best through, the corporate structure
Yep.
while learning enough to bullshit your way to the top.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Tom has managed to go from getting Logan a watch that he doesn't give a shit about to taking
Hmm.
over Logan's position
Yeah.
in the
To
matter of like
being
5 years.
the one that was with him when he
Yeah.
died and would hang out with him at the house,
Yep.
you know, and he became like a de facto child to Logan,
Yeah.
where in the, first season, Logan says, you know, you're marrying, why are you marrying him? He's below your
Oh,
station,
yeah.
basically.
Fathoms beneath you because
Yeah.
you're afraid of being betrayed.
Yeah.
Huge moment because
Yeah.
I think that's part of the reason why she stayed with Tom,
Yeah.
like went back with Tom, is like she knows that like Tom is in love with her to some degree and won't fuck her over for the most part, because especially
Yeah.
because she's pregnant. So it's like the lesser of two evils. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't really love Tom, but I'll still stay in
Yeah.
power. Yeah.
Tom still loves her. And when they're
Yeah.
having the conversation early on, she's like, let's have a real conversation. And he's like, I don't know, Shiv, I got to think about it,
Yeah.
or I don't, honestly, I don't know. And, is that a game as he's playing this game to get this position, or is that now he's so fed up now he's got the power.
Yeah.
Well, now he doesn't know at the time, but now he has the power. So he doesn't need her either anymore.
No.
So it would be interesting to see what happens there.
Yeah. I think he knows it's just another play. Like he
Yeah.
gets it now. He's in power. You're gonna have the the hang-ons, right? And that includes his wife, unfortunately. But I did like how Hugo is like trying to position his way back in.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, have you seen Carolina?
Yeah. Tom's like, where's Carolina? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing for me. So this is my little punch list, right? Hugo's out, Frank and Carl are out. I mean, obviously Rome and Ken will have nothing to do with the business. Um, Frank and Carl are out. I think I said that, but and then
Yeah.
in Carolina, Jerry,
Yeah, Jerry's
and
coming back. Yeah.
Greg still,
Yeah.
because Tom, it's funny because one thing that Tom was really good at, and he tried to tell Greg this, and this season he's like, information, is, and when to use, I forget the exact quote, but he's basically telling Greg like, information is the most valuable currency, and
Yeah.
knowing when to use it. So every time
It's like
Greg
a
gets a whiff of something, he goes and tells somebody to, like, because he's always flip flopping
Yeah.
what side. And Tom has a plan. He's had to make a little shifts in the plan, but he's had the plan. His whole trajectory was to take over for Logan. I mean,
Yeah.
this was from the beginning of the thing, and it was talking shit. How, I thought I was, supposed to take over when Daddy Roy tells Shiv, like, yeah, you can take over for me, right?
Yeah.
So it's
Right.
like, I thought that was our plan. Our plan was for me,
Right. Yeah.
but that was been his entire thing where Greg, who's been Tom's puppet, but any information where the wind may be blowing one way or the other, Greg is like throwing it out. And without knowing that it was going to be Tom, because Tom held that information saying, we're going to be good, Greg. It's
Yeah.
all good, Greg. You got nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
And Greg hears a conversation that
Yeah.
Shiv's going to
Translates
get
it with
screwed
like
over.
Google
Yeah.
Translate on his phone.
He calls Kendall because he thinks like, all right, I'll get all the kids together and they're going to win. And then I'll be part of the quad squad.
Quad squad,
So,
jackass. Yeah.
and then now, like Tom's still going to use Greg. He could pay him less and abuse him more.
You're the highest
So
paid executive assistant in New York, Greg. Should be, yeah, if
but
we get cut, you're talking like 50, 60,
yeah,
$70,000 a year. And he's
yeah,
like,
instead of
"Oh
two
my
hundred and
God."
fifty thousand dollars or whatever. So
Yeah, Tom understands the power of information, right?
mhm.
I think Greg understands that information is power. He just releases it at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
but
kind of like how Shiv always makes the wrong deal. She's good at making
yeah,
deals and she's good at like manipulating things to her advantage, but
yeah,
it's always the wrong decision.
always the wrong
It
choice.
always works out the wrong way for her.
Yeah,
And as I said, Greg gets information better than anybody in the show. And Hugo is also good at that too. But
yeah,
Greg doesn't know how to use it.
no,
He doesn't
yeah.
have the experience to use it for the
It
right means.
Tom told him, right? Like information is like a bottle of wine. You have to wait for it to age, and at the right moment, you smash it over somebody's head.
That's
Yeah.
right. That was the quote.
So
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tom is CEO. How long do you think he's going to be in charge?
So I don't know because it's a puppet position. He could be in there for a while. Um, he also could use it. I would say like 5 years to use it to like go become CEO of like an oil company or like Amazon or some large corporation, right? That
Yeah.
he could make decisions versus being a puppet
Right.
for Matson.
I'd give it 2 years. It's enough time for the political bullshit to die down.
Yeah.
Mencken doesn't care if he's elected, right? Even if he's not elected, that it's even better for Matson. 2 years, Tom, here's the door. Appreciate it. Get the fuck out. And then Matson can put in whoever he wants.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
Once
Matson
all the
would just
political
make
pressure is down, doesn't matter.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Matson kicks him to the curb and just names him, as soon as something isn't performing like the way that it should, once the deal's approved and the political pressure, he can
Yeah.
chop him down,
Yeah.
and take over on his side. But he may like that, just having a pain sponge while he goes and cleans house. So
Yeah.
but yeah, after everything gets gutted and stripped for parts, it's a part shop.
Bad
After it gets
brand, good parts.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So quick run through of other people. So we talked about Tom, CEO, maybe 2 to 5 years, onto something else. Frank and Carl
Retired. Golden
retired. Yeah.
parachute. Yeah. Probably serving on a board. They don't even send in their own proxies anymore.
Yep. Yep. Jerry.
She's probably still there long term. Yeah. Longer than Tom is.
You think she's probably chief counsel for
Yeah.
Gojo? Yeah.
Yeah.
I would agree. Carolina,
Carolina. Yeah. She's still hanging out.
head of U.S. Communications
And
for
eventually
Gojo.
will take over Ebba's job. Yeah.
Yeah, she works for Ebba.
Yeah. Stop sending. Yeah,
And
Madsen stops sending her blood and starts sending it to Carolina.
yeah, yeah. Carolina starts like getting blood transfusion, like Blood Boy from Silicon Valley to be younger. No. Um, Hugo
Oh yeah, he's gone. Yeah.
indicted for securities fraud,
Oh yeah. Yeah. Kendall just out of spite
insider
rats him out to the
trading.
SEC.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Matson still running Gojo. Matson, Oscar, Ebba still together. Gojo
Yeah, nothing changes there till Emma leaves. Yeah.
until Ebba, yeah, sues and
Gets a
but
big,
then gets
huge
it.
like NDA payoff. Yeah.
Yeah. Um.
Gregor's.
Uh. Well, before Greg, the mom and Munyon the Onion,
Oh my god, dude.
they're
Jesus.
pitching deals to still pitching deals to the boy. Well, I thought Caroline was part of the board, but I guess not because she didn't have a vote. But
Yeah, no,
um,
I think
and
that's when they restructured the deal. Yeah.
well, and
When
I thought
last season.
I thought Marsha was on the board too, but I guess that never went through because they were talking about in the first season they were going to give him board seats and they were changing the will, but I guess he had that all changed when he started dating Carrie.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I was surprised Marsha didn't come. Marsha and her son, what are they doing now? Is she married to
Uh
some like the owner of Alibaba, like
yeah, probably. Yeah.
the Amazon of the
Some
Asia?
French Parisian country company. Yeah. Um yeah,
The son's running like
they don't even
Eastern
live in the
European
US anymore.
operations. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I can't find
Colin.
what deal it was that they were like Peter and his friend were
Yeah,
pitching. Like I thought it
I
had
don't
to do
even.
with retirement homes or some shit. I can't remember.
Well,
Anyway,
Living Plus like can
that
be
was the big
branched
deal.
off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Colin, is he still Kendall's bodyguard?
Oh yeah.
And for Kret, his driver, Kendall's driver, is he still driving him around?
Yeah, they're still on the payroll. I think Colin feels like a father figure to Kendall to some
Yeah,
degree and is going to stay with him until Kendall jumps in the
yeah,
East River. Yeah.
nice. All right, Quad Squad. Let's start with Gregor's.
Greg. Oh,
He's
dude,
still
he is
Gregging for Tom.
yeah, he's Tom's bitch until Tom like dies of a stroke at 93.
Yeah, yeah. I think
No
that.
matter where Tom goes, Greg follows. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, or does Greg go like crawling back to Ewan for his inheritance?
Yeah. No. He winds up like at the end of Veep with Congressman Furlong and his assistant Will, how he just like carts Will around in a wheelchair. That's
Yeah.
exactly what it's gonna be like. I can feel
Oh,
it.
that's
Yeah.
great. Roman.
Roman, that guy winds up taking his billions and living
Creating a
the Playboy
Showtime show
life.
called Billions. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Starts billions and writes and directs.
Yeah. Nice.
He keeps going until he like winds up like R.I.P. What's his name? George Carlin, where he just winds up like hanging in a Thailand closet
Yeah.
after hanging out
Oh,
with some
that
hookers.
Bourdain, or
No,
was
no,
it
no.
not
Kung Fu. Kill Bill.
yeah, yeah, not George Carlin. It was
No, not
so I
him.
know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Roman. So I think you don't watch Community. There's a joke from Community that because Roman has a penchant for jerking it like in certain places.
Yeah.
So in the show Community, Chevy Chase's character dies in like season 5. And so like he's leaving everything to everybody and it's like, okay, Troy is getting this and Ab is getting this. Everybody that's getting something is like plus a jar of his sperm. Like so he left everybody a jar of their sperm of his own of Chevy Chase's sperm.
Yeah.
So after the end of the episode, they're talking to the lawyer. They go out to drinks with the lawyer and they're like, "No, we never said you never mentioned how he died." And they're like, "Oh yeah, he died jerking off, filling all these bottles of sperm."
Oh my god.
So like I just think Rome like has some kind of auto asphyxiation or
Oh yeah,
like
yeah. Like David Carradine, that's his name. Yeah,
okay, yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He
Something
definitely
some
winds up like found in Monaco in a closet, like jerking off, like dead.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But he's gonna enjoy his life,
yeah,
drinks and Playboy lifestyle.
yeah.
Shiv.
Oh man, Shiv has the baby. Thinks she has power to some degree. I mean, she's locked in the whole. It's a. I'm gonna say, man, it's a man's world in this
Yeah.
show. Like the only person who was ever in control and not for very long was who did they try to buy? Which that $10 billion deal, I guess, is off the table. But Pierce,
Oh, Pierce, yeah.
yeah, like that's the only like female we saw in power, um, at least run like
Yeah.
everything. And so Shiv is basically locked in with the baby. She's going to be subservient to Tom to some degree, but she's not going anywhere. She's going to be with Tom as long as he's running the company.
When they abandoned Mondale, the dog, right? I mean, you
Oh,
see
that
him
poor
like
dog.
once, and we haven't seen him again. So she's does she spit out the baby and go back into politics, or does Tom say, "We'll get you. We'll put." Oh, I got two. I forgot before I get to Kendall. I got two more that we completely forgot.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think maybe she goes back into politics, so she has her own thing. And but
She
um,
runs for state senator of New York.
yeah, she beats Hillary Clinton in primary. Um, so we didn't talk about Willa and Connor very much, but
Oh,
so but just real quick on them, Willa's already redecorating the house because Connor's gonna go to Slovenia by himself,
yeah.
so
She's
Willa
gonna
can
stay
work on a
here,
play.
and I'm gonna be over there. We're gonna do the long distance thing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, like a trial, like yeah. Roman says something funny, and I can't remember what he says in that moment, but it's like, but yeah, they're just like all like it's all normal and they're comfortable with it.
Yeah.
Um, so what happens to Connor and Will? We'll group them together.
That's a tough one. Like they seem so like somewhat secure
Yeah.
and yet the most ridiculous in their relationship. Um, he goes to Slovenia, probably the most peaceful place he could have gone, and yet somehow still dies in a car bombing. Um,
That's dude. I was going right there. He gets killed like while on like consulate duty in Slovenia, like a stray missile from like the Russia Ukraine war like hits the consulate house or the American consulate in Slovenia,
oh,
and
you
he
know,
dies.
Macon sanctioned it. Yeah.
Yeah, Mencken talk to Putin to like,
Yeah.
right? Can you do this? And then Willa is gonna be like, she's gonna take over for Lin Manuel Miranda and become like the most famous musical writer and director in the US.
She writes an off-Broadway script about the Roy family that then gets
Yeah,
picked up by a TV series.
it's a rap. It's like a rap draw or rap musical like Hamilton, but it's about the Roys.
It's just all L to the OG. Yeah.
And then with the success of that, she does like she decides to do like to go like Hamilton, but instead of like Hamilton, she does like very specific like part of the like she does like one for like Daniel Boone
Oh yeah.
or like the guy with the that wore the coonskin hat,
Oh yeah, Davy Crockett.
Davy
Yeah.
Crockett, but
Who's
it's
somebody
set to rap
Connor
music,
would really embrace? Somebody like it could
like
be so
Stalin
politically yeah, yeah. Like
or yeah, who the conheads follow, right?
yeah, who do they believe in? Like that could be it. Yeah. So great.
And finally, Kendall. What does Kendall do in the future?
There's two paths. Either Kindle just basically right away like kills himself after hanging out on the bench on the at the river at the end of Manhattan. Um or he somehow makes it through that and will use every dollar he has left to try to like weasel his way back into owning Waystar somehow. A ridiculous notion, but he'll just burn his entire inheritance.
No, I think that second point is a really good point. Like, as Matson called it, a part shop, right? So,
Yeah,
they have ATN, which is their moneymaker, like their Fox News that like the blue hairs are
yeah,
watching. And there there's other parts, does Kendall then like buy, I don't know, Waystar Cruises or some,
Vulture buys Vulture back.
yeah, but some name with Waystar Royco and get the
Yeah,
rights to the name or something like that for,
yeah,
but he spends his whole inheritance, money from the sale, everything on getting a small chunk of the business back.
yeah.
Just like he overpaid for Walter whenever
Vulture, that's it.
he
Yeah,
was doing the deal. So yeah, he's gonna spend all his money to get a tiny piece back from Matson and get the name Waystar Royco.
yeah, totally. I can totally see that. I think in the behind the scenes, I saw like they were filming that day at the park, like right by the water,
Yeah,
and it was cold, and it was like the wind was blowing like they'd never seen, and like Jeremy Strong was like, I don't know what he would do in this moment, and he was like, maybe he'd go down to the water, and he just like took off running like toward the water, and his driver Colin,
yeah,
like
yeah,
the actor like in real life like stopped him. He was like, dude, what the hell are you doing? Like he was like trying to figure out like Ken's next step, and he's basically just locked in this. I saw an article like that described it as like this silent scream. It's like that painting in Ferris Bueller where the guy is just like
yeah,
he's just gonna be stuck there for the rest of his life. Guy is
yeah.
screwed. So what? Yeah, what do you think Ken's? Yeah, what happened to Ken?
I think he'll try to buy part of the company back from Matson, whatever he strips
Parks.
apart, and buy the name and start his own uh you know global news focusing on Africa,
Oh,
sub-Saharan, you know uh
Sub-Saharan, Central Saharan. Yeah,
yeah.
he'd be the only one to watch that. Yeah.
Yeah, so um I think we covered all the kids. Do you have any other, and we have, I mean, there's so much going on throughout the season, and throughout this episode, but I think we covered most of it.
I think we did. Um, the kids always just betray each other. So brutal to watch. Like all of their love map, like how they communicate like affection is so fucked up. Like
Yeah.
Roman is always saying something incredibly like raunchy to Shiv, and it's just his way of being like she's like, by the way, I'm pregnant. And he's like, is it mine? And instead that's his way of being like, oh, congratulations. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. It's
I,
so fucked up how they are. And of course,
I,
Kin, like when they were in Barbados, like
yeah.
Kin like went to hug Roman and like crushed him into his shoulder and like popped his stitch. Like they had like that
Yeah.
is like their only like way of communicating is like through pain. So messed up.
Yeah, and that was power move by Ken too, right?
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
like, you're just a weak, ineffectual, effete,
Yeah.
child,
Yeah.
and I can crush you mentally,
Yeah.
and not
Down
so
here
much
hanging out with
physically, but
mom
he
in
tries.
Barbados.
So I was looking, sometimes I see these like little style things that shows like the outfits that I have. So when Matson
Yeah.
was in Sweet, or when they went to Norway or whatever, and had Instagram account had all Matson, like his sweatshirt was like $300, his pants were like 500. Roman's shirt was like from like in the kids section at Walmart for like $13.
That's
Like it was such
great.
a beautiful thing because it's like he's a child,
Yeah.
just looking. Shiv and everybody comes fully dressed as business professionals. Rome's in shorts and like a kid's t-shirt from Walmart. Not even in like swim trunks and like, you know, t-shirt. It's just he's reverts back to a child when, because he's not developed emotionally.
Yep.
Um but yeah, I'm gonna miss the Romanisms and all the digging that they do at each other. They have some of the best one-liners out of any show.
I'm trying to think of what other lines there were. What do you think about Tom? Oh, Tom will honestly suck the biggest dick in the room. That's just
Yeah.
my assessment.
Yeah. He's an empty suit. It just and Roman also calls him uh when Shiv goes into the room and goes, "It's Tom, it's Tom," and Roman goes, "They went with the dry cleaner." Like, it's just like it's just, there's no respect. They have no respect for him. But and I was thinking during this episode, when they were, after Shiv gets screwed over and they're aligning, that they would pick somebody else to run the company. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, I don't know why, but it's all their ego. It's one thing, they could have kept the company if they say, "Hey, there's this like really great available CEO that's turned around these other companies or led these other companies into, you know, um these transitions." But the kids would never go for that because
Yeah.
they all three thought they deserved and were told that
Yeah.
they would one day run the company.
Yeah,
But
that they would be the heir apparent. And I love what like kid is like, he told me when I was 7. I know it was best up for dad
yeah,
to do that, but he told me, like, we were
yeah.
like sitting in the kitchen and he told me. And Shiv was like, ooh, persuasive. What else did he say when no one else was around? That he was the
Yeah.
Zodiac killer? That he killed Tupac?
Yeah.
That was so funny, man. Like, so many good one-liners.
Yeah.
Yeah. Roman, oh, or he played you like a big fiddle, like a pregnant cello. Damn, dude, that's so many good one-line. I'm gonna miss this show just for the one-liners.
Yeah, for sure. It's this show works as a comedy, a drama, a tragedy. It's
Yeah.
got all the elements that you need. And if, for people who haven't seen it, you're probably not listening anyways, like an
Yeah.
hour into the finale recap. But make it past the first 4 or 5 episodes of season 1, and then you'll love it.
It's so good. It's a hell of a tragedy. I mean, that's the whole point of this thing, right? Is that, there's comedies and there's tragedies. And this what I told Jackie is this was a tragedy. It was never going to end with Ken like taking the reins and he's going to live his life happy for the rest that he has left. No, that's not what the show's about. The show is about
Yeah.
cutthroat pieces of shit finally taking over who don't really deserve it. And that includes the siblings and that includes Tom. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, it's just the show from 5 years ago. I'm including a year off for COVID. When the show debuted, I remember watching it. I remember watching the trailer and getting into it and like Ken killing that kid at Shiv's wedding
Mm-hmm.
and thinking like the show couldn't get any crazier. And then just how the last couple of seasons have played out with like Ken like potentially offering himself on the altar of Logan and then
Yeah.
betraying Logan and then Tom offering himself on the on the altar and being a little fish he gets bonked on the head and put in Logan's pouch.
Yeah.
All of these twists and turns over the last 5 years. It's truly an amazing show that was written by people who understood the content. And then add on top of that the cinematography piece of it, which is basically a story in itself. I mean, the show is definitely in the pantheon of greatest shows of HBO.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and in general, especially like since we've gone to streaming and
Yeah,
we've gone away from kind of the formulaic network TV shows, right? So yeah, gonna be sorely missed.
yeah.
Lots of good shows ending this week, and this was the cream of the crop.
This was, I think, the one I was most looking forward to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I've rewatched it 3 times.
nice,
I've watched Barry twice, and then Lasso last night. So,
nice.
but yeah, I'm. It'll be a show I'll do a rewatch again. So.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to go back and watch the first season again, knowing what's going to happen and just analyzing Tom the whole way, and then seeing Shiv, like who I remember going back and seeing pictures from season 1, and she had like long hair and dressed totally different from the way she is now, and just every character's development is insane. Roman being like, "I'll give you $1 million if you hit a home run," to the big piece of shit that he still is. Like it's so funny. Yeah. So, any other thoughts on Succession?
That's it, man.
Yeah, it's just a banger of a show. I mean, it just so good. Can't believe it's over. Yeah.
We will miss you, Roy family.
Yeah. R.I.P. to Ken and his green turtleneck and his $15,000 gold medallion.
L to the OG. R to the IP.
L to the OG. A-N he playing. God, I watched that scene over and over again. So good. Yeah. But appreciate everybody for kicking it with us this week. Hope you enjoyed Succession now that the series is over. If you have somehow made it this far into the podcast listening to this, go back and watch the show if you haven't seen it, just from the beginning. It's amazing. Be sure to tune in. For the next podcast, we're going to be talking Barry and Ted Lasso. Both of those ended. It's a crazy week for series endings. So be sure to check out that on Google Pod, Apple Pod, all of our podcast platforms. Check out our Instagram. I think we should do a poll around how long Tom is going to be CEO. Our Instagram is at Can We Kick It Pod. Check out our website, kickitmedia.com. And email us, canwekickitpod1@gmail.com. And as Chuck likes to say,
mahalo.